Okay, we're going to use the flowchart and the pseudocode in Pascal. Now, Pascal is probably going to use some of these keywords that haven't been used before, like the then part. So it's worth paying attention to what it does. So let's hop over to Pascal. And I'm going to make the screen a little bigger with Pascal. I think we can turn it into a larger screen. Have I got any preferences? Environment, screen size, let's make it a 43 by 50 line display. There we go, we've got more size now. And I want to save those preferences. Right, so let's start. Program. My first semicolon. I've got my begin and end of program. That's basic Pascal layout. I'm going to need the variable for num, which is of type integer. So now I'm coding. So at the moment, the only thing that's set up is the fact that it knows num is an integer. There's no code at all, really, for a program. So here we begin. So I'm going to set num equal to 6. And Pascal has the colon equal sign for assignment. And now I'm going to check if. Now I can put it in brackets, my condition, so let's try that one. Num is equal to 6, and here's a big difference from every other program so far. There is a single equal sign to test, not a double equal sign. And then finally I need the keyword then, which matches the design and the pseudocode. So we can see where we're getting that pseudocode statement from. So what am I going to do if num equals 6? I'm going to right line num semicolon, and that's the end of my if statement. Now, if I've only got one line, I'm okay really. I don't need to have a begin and end statement. Pascal relies heavily on begin and end statement. So if you've got more than one statement, I've got 1, 2, 3 here, I need a begin and end. If you've only got one statement, you don't actually need them. But that's poor programming practice. So I am going to do the correct thing by using a begin and an end and a semicolon. So that is really the correct way of writing a Pascal if statement. We don't need the round brackets. We don't really need the begin and ends, but as our program gets larger and as our coding gets larger, it's useful to do this so that we have consistency in how we write and how we think. So I'm going to save that. Now I really need to save it in. Let's delete that. See programs. I've made a folder called programs where I'm going to start saving all my Pascal work. C programs, and it's going to be called my first.pass. It's the editable file. So that is saved. Now I need to compile it, and I need to make sure I'm going to the disk, Let's just open up programs to see. There we go. I've got my first.pass. I've also got my configuration file that I saved my settings in. And now I'm going to compile this, and hopefully that will give me yet another file. There we go. And that actually is the executable file. In other words, the one that is going to run. I don't really run or start Turbo Pascal up at all. I just give away this file. So if I just double click on that, it appears in a black window and goes away. And the only reason it's done that is because I could do with another statement in here just to pause the screen so I can see what has occurred. So I'm going to do that now. I've done it in the other videos. I just need to do read line, and I need a variable in there. I'm just going to choose num because I've got that. I'm not reusing it, so there's no problem. Save it. I think it's Alt F9. I often get this wrong and close the program. There we go. It's also made a backup file now. So double click on my first. It's printed 6 and now it's waiting. So the only thing I need to do to finish off is to show you what happens if it does not come into here. It will just wait for some user input. So if I change that value to 5, if number is equal to 6, it's not, so it's not going to write anything out, but it is going to wait on this line, read line num, for us to actually do something. So F2 saves it, Alt F9 compiles it, and double clicking on my first exa runs it. And there you go, we haven't got 6 printed out, we've got nothing printed out, it's just waiting. So that is our if statement in Python, in Pascal. Notice how many lines of code we've now got just for a simple if statement.